Hey friends, and welcome back to another Legion Tower Defense 2 video. This is part of a video series I'm doing where I get the top game with every single tier 1 unit. Today's video is the Proton edition. I also break down the waves and decisions made in the game, which can be useful for both new players and veterans alike. The plan is simple: grab a friend, so I don't int anybody on the ladder, and go Fiesta. Well, that's normally the plan, but I only have 3 tier 1s left, and actually went lock-in to make sure that I got the Proton. I've got my friend carded with me again, and he deserved a win after a couple of not so great games, so I plan to put on my tryhard pants, and did not disappoint. The new lock-in gives you a random roll besides the unit that you locked in, and it gave me an actual incredible early game. With the Protons, I always have a good source of damage, and the Gargoyle and the Chained Fist are very good early game tanks. I needed to have most of my money into Protons, but since I'm not Fiesta, I also need to hold, even if they send a snail. So I added 40 gold worth of Chained Fists and 40 gold of Gargoyles. I needed to have most of my money in Protons to actually get the top game with them, but since I'm not Fiesta, I also need to hold, even if they send a snail. What I've chosen allows me to get 4 workers right away and go to 5 if they send me on wave 1. I just get the king up, easy hold, and go to 5 workers. Wave 2, I just add a Gargoyle, and it should let me hold a snail resend, and if they skip, it'll make me much stronger on wave 3. They do end up skipping, and I just easy hold again. Wave 3, I upgrade a Proton into an Atom. I already have a good mix of tanks, and need to start adding some damage. They don't send again, and I am actually starting to sweat a bit. I'm 5 workers, so as long as I hold their next send, I actually am in still a really good spot. Wave 4, and because of my allies' leak last wave, I actually have the perfect gold for just what I want. I got a second Atom for damage, and put an Oathbreaker in the split for some okay tank value, and some possible smurf breaking. I just have to hope that my positioning is good enough if we do get a send here. I do get a 100 send with a Brute and 2 Snails. Pretty good send as I only have Fortified and Arcane defenses, and the Brute is pretty good versus both. The Smurf Breaker on the right is doing its job and stalling for a long time. My left side Atom didn't tank very much, but still ends up smurfing a bit. Because the Oathbreaker's AoE attack actually damaged the Brute a little bit, I snipe it and just end up full holding. This is a really good start for me. And if we look at my guy sending into me, he has plus 20 value. He stays up for a long time for that Mythium and sent everything that he had. And since he's overbuilt, we can assume that he's got very low workers, and I shouldn't be in trouble for a long time. I mean, look at this. I pushed 3 workers and just added a Harpy, and I'm still 15 over value. I just got Income King here, which might have been a bit of a mistake, because I am going to Giga Push after this. And last video I talked about having your DPS on the left side, and your tanks on the right side. This is a perfect example of how a well-split wave 5 can go. My Atom tanked the boss to very low HP and didn't die. My split Oathbreaker did the same and ended up living as well. Not a huge deal, but both my Gargoyles split tanked as well. It's wave 6, and I'm at a safe 10 workers. I didn't even out my split because, 1, I didn't have enough money to, and I really just wanted 2 on the right side for the Oathbreaker, and the other 4 to split with my left side. I get another Income King, and check the guy sending it to me, and he's 50 over value, which means this is probably the most he can send me, so I pushed really hard. And I did get rid of my Atom and Green Devil and replaced it with some better late game units with the Antler and the Fire Lord. Wave 7 and they skipped, which means it's probably a wave 8 or wave 9 send. Honestly, they could choose either into me, as I have a lot of impact fortified, which is pretty bad on wave 8, but I also have a couple of Atoms, which really aren't that great on 9 either. Unfortunately though, I did leak my guy, and this is considered a bad leak because it's so small that it really doesn't hurt the guy I'm sitting into, and we won't get any king damage, but they get a lot of extra time to let the Mythium pile up. Wave 8, and I actually had a lot of trouble deciding on what I wanted to upgrade. And I ended up going with a Sky Queen and a Green Devil. Just in case they came here, I wanted to have some good units. If they skipped, I could always go a big Oathbreaker, Avenger, or even a Fire Lord for the wave 9. They do end up coming, but it's not the biggest send into me, as my guy was overbuilt most of the game, and it was on the income. Unfortunately, I did get my left Atom sniped, and end up doing a bit of a small leak, but it's okay, my teammate basically helped too, and we came out on top of this one. And you can tell we came out on top, because wave 9, I am on top of the power score. I sell a Gargoyle to make a good white main aura and push to 16 workers. The Income King again, and I get to go to 18 workers. I know I'm in the lead and don't want to overpush too much. They only sent a Fiend with no King ups, which means they are probably going for a big Scarf now. Wave 11, I just upgraded into a Final Form Oathbreaker and try to protect my Fire Lord. They skip, which is nice because I rarely messed up my Fire Alert split and got it killed almost instantly. The guy I'm sending into has a lot of impact, and so does yellow, so if they had sent 11, they risk small leaking carded or I and letting us push really hard for a big 12 send into them. I upgrade the Phoenix as it still does pretty well split tanking here, and my ally has a big bunk with life binders, so I wanted to be as strong as I could on wave 13 for him, just in case. Now that I'm looking back at it, it's pretty obvious that they are coming here. I'm on top of the power score and they don't want to come 13 into my Phoenix. Sure, my ally has a good units here, but he's way low in the power score, so it kind of made sense. We probably should have income king here, or even full sent, as I had the Mythium for a pack and imps, and the guy I'm sending into was terrible here. Well, they do come here, and I forgot to sell my chained fist that I put down on wave 11, and my Phoenix ends up not split taking at all, and I do a bit of a small leak. My ally pretty much full covers though, and we are almost full king, so this is definitely another win for us. But since we didn't send here, we have all the pressure we could ever want. Wave 13, and I add the Avenger in case they want to try again on wave 14. Even without auras or steeds, the Sov is still pretty darn good on wave 13 and 14. Nobody sends here, and it probably is going to be that wave 14. This is definitely the wave you want to send anyway, as my guy is higher on the power score and he's got a lot of natural defense and magic damage, especially with that Lord of Death. I went for the Needler and wanted a pack leader, but I did a bit of an oopsie-daisy and clicked the Drake instead. He's got a lot of unupgraded or weak units, and the Needler will just shred through them, and the pack would have helped kill everything that's not an arcane tank much faster. Oh well, I'm sure the Drake is fine. I also went with an Ogre in case he tries to spam Treants or more veterans. For my build, I just upgraded the Sovereign and added a Sand Badger. The send comes in, and it's time for me to see if I'm in the carry position that I think I am. Luckily for me though, he sent a Robo with the 4 eyes, and in case you didn't know how these types of things work, if you send another ranged unit with the 4 eyes, it will push the 4 eyes to the right side. Because of the Robo and it being on my Phoenix, I get a perfect split tanking Phoenix the whole way. I easily hold and actually full cover while they aren't doing so great. Well, that's it for me, friends. I hope you enjoy. Oh, wait, they lived. Never mind. Well, since they lived, we decided to go for a big wave 16, which means pushing very hard. The guy I'm sending it to has a lot of impact and fortified, and just one Hades should not be enough to save him. I have enough value and income that I was confident even if they do match at 16, I would just full hold and possibly cover, or it would take a small amount of king damage while they die. I mean, I pushed almost everything, and I was only 15 under on wave 15. Wave 16 comes, and I add a second Sovereign and upgrade the White Mane. I sent a Witch for the gate in Hades spawns, and another Needler because he could always reroll a Swift Tank, and it would just melt through anything unupgraded, no matter the defense type. The sends come here from everybody, but my goodness, look at this split. He's gotta stop sending that one Robo, because it keeps the Phoenix mana low, even after it's killed everything attacking it from the wave. I just full hold, and there's no chance we would ever die. Unfortunately for them, they were not as lucky, and this time they actually do die. I ended up on top of the power score, and get another top game with a tier 1. That's it for me, friends, for real this time, and I hope you enjoyed it or even learned something. And sorry for the 1 day delay, but I did have to deal with something on Tuesday.
The Shivers. Whenever I'm thinking about you, just